A very good morning, girls, and welcome back to yet another session of your English class. I hope all of you are fine at home and safe, and I also hope that you are completing your notes. So, in our previous class, we had already started with the third chapter around the medicinal creeper. So, to speak about the lesson, it is all about this particular medicinal creeper and how the writer Purnachandra Tejasvi is trying to break the myth, the mystification of the many plants and herbs and shrubs that have the medicinal property, but it is not revealed to the people. So, to have a short recap of what we were doing in our previous class. So, in my first class, I told you about the creeper. The creeper had so many different stories which were true, which were false, and which were totally imaginary. So, the writer is trying to find out what really is the property, what is the real medicinal value of this particular uh, creeper. So then he finds out from his laborers, Sannappa, Masti, Baira, and this main particular character, Mara, that this particular medicinal creeper has been cursed by a sage. So whenever somebody needs the plant, they will not find it. So that is the curse. So the writer wants to very clearly know what it is really about. So that is where he starts wandering in the forest, and he gets to know about lot of medicinal creepers that are there in the forest. Then he gives a small description about the creeper, telling it is seen only during the rainy season. It has leaves that are resembling the beetle leaves, and there are fruits that grow like a bunch of grapes, and the lifespan of this particular creeper is very short. It is seen most of the time during the rainy season, and it appears again in the next rainy season. So in between the seasons you are not able to find it. Maybe that is the reason why people, whenever they see this medicinal creeper, they tend to tie it around a nearby tree. So he says this is the people, the olden days, the generation, the people are kind of crazy where they think that they don't share the information of whatever they have regarding the creeper or the medicinal value. So I was speaking about this ginger. How many of you know the real value, the proper value of ginger? No, you will not know. You will hardly know one or two things because it is not told to you. So uh, when the writer wants to discuss the medicinal property of this particular medicinal creeper with his doctor friends, the doctors really call him ignoramus, which means ignorant, and they end up having a fight with him. Then we understand the stories that are told by Mara. One regarding the wound where his hand was cut and he was bleeding copiously in spurts. Okay, so that time when the person who is nearby, they just get some leaf, they keep it on the wound, and they just tear a piece of dhoti and they tie it around like a bandage. So when Mara was taken to the excuse me. So when Mara was taken to the doctor, the white man in Hulihindalu, when the bandage was removed, there was a surprise to the white man, to the white doctor, as he did not find any sign of wound, and not even a mark, a scar. So the white man is irritated by this and is scolding, he's rebuking Mara, where Mara says he shows all the blood stains on his clothes, and he confirms that he had really had a cut and something happened when this particular leaf was kept. So the white man is very curious to know about this particular leaf. When they go in search of it, they search from morning till evening, but they are not able to find the they are not able to find the leaf. Why? Because when you need the creeper, you will not find it. So Mara tells the story which is really not true. So that is what the writer says. He says this is just a cock and bull story that you are telling me. And this leaf, if you had gone to the place where you were cutting the bamboo shoot, there you would have found the leaf. That is what the writer says. But he comes up with another story where he says even the cowkill and the mongoose also knew about the medicinal creeper, and they go and chew it when they are bitten by the poisonous snakes. So this is the third story that he says, and he also we understand this Mara was an old man who did not have any teeth on the right side. But why only right side was the big question. So the writer goes and asks him, why don't you have any teeth on your right side? For that he comes up with another story where he says one day he had laid a trap to catch a rabbit. So he was worried that somebody would go there and take his trap. So before the daybreak, before the sunrise, Mara goes to the forest, but he is very disappointed that he did not find any trap, any rabbit. So he sees a stream that was flowing nearby, and before treading back home, before going home, he thought, let me brush my teeth and wash my face. So he breaks a stick and he's brushing. He feels a kind of sour taste in his mouth, so immediately he throws the sticks and he feels like rinsing his mouth. When he rinses the mouth and when he spits, there's a surprise. What happens? The stick that had touched the uh, the side of the tooth, all the teeth from that side had just fallen off, which was a big surprise to Mara. So this is where I had stopped. So we will continue. Thank God. I was saved because I had not brushed all the teeth. So he says, so Mara says, thank God. I was surprised that all the teeth on my right side had fallen because it was touched by the leaf, the stem of it. So he says, I thank God because I did not brush my entire set of teeth. I mean, brushed the one side of my teeth. Otherwise, I would not have had any teeth left to eat even rice. So he says, if at all I had brushed my teeth completely, all my teeth would have fallen off and I would not have been able to eat rice. Chew rice. I rebuked him. Rebuke means to scold. Okay. Hey Mara, if you want to tell lies, they must at least be believable. So the writer is really irritated and he says, hey Mara, if you want to tell lies, if you want to tell me a lies, you should tell it so that I will believe. But whatever you are telling is completely lies, which makes me unbelievable about your stories. Mara said, can't you see that I have lost all those teeth? So Mara is justifying his statement and he says, can't you see that the teeth on my right side I've lost those teeth? Then come and show me the plant. So the writer says, okay, fine. If you want to justify your statement, come and show me the plant. How can I show you the plant? There are hundreds of plants in the forest. So Mara says, how can I show you that particular plant? There are so many different plants in the forest. You can do one thing, sir. You can try brushing your teeth with each of them. So Mara says, there are so many hundreds. So when you enter a forest, okay, you will find so many different kinds of plants. You will not understand what is what. So he says there are so many plants. I cannot tell you which is the plant that I use to brush my teeth. But you can find one thing. You can do one thing, sir. You go to the forest and you give a try yourself. You try brushing your teeth. Then you will understand which of the plant can give this effect. Then we can find out which one has this effect. So the writer says, why should I? The writer is asking, Purnachandra Tejasvi is asking, why should I do that? You are the one who is lying. So you have to brush your teeth with all those plants and discover the right one. So the writer is telling, why should I give a test on myself? Rather, you go and you test so that you can discover which was the plant that made all your teeth on the right side to just fall out. My God, there are so many plants in the forest. I won't live long enough to try each and every one of them. So Mara exclaims, he shows his surprise and he also conveys a message here to the readers where he says, my God, there are so many plants in the forest. God has created so many different kinds of varieties of plants. I won't live long enough. He is already aged. So he says, I won't live long enough to try each of them. Next slide. Hey Mara, if you keep trying out different ones, you may find one which is going to make your teeth come back. So the writer is really mocking at him, making fun of him. I'm telling, hey Mara, go try doing things like this. Try out brushing your teeth with different ones, so that you may find a plant which can give back your teeth. So you are telling a plant, you touched a stem of a plant and made all your right side teeth to fall down. Why not you try so that you may get a plant which can give back your teeth? How can I say which type of plant I will stumble upon? So he says, how can I say that I am choosing the right kind of a plant? How can I assure you, or how can I assure and trust and tell that I am using the right kind of plant? Just my bad luck if I get the one which kills me. So here Mara is trying to give explanation to the readers as well as to Purnachandra Tejasvi, telling not all the plants that are there can give you a positive result. What if it is my bad luck? What if I can end up trying a poisonous plant? So all the plants that are around us does not carry a medicinal property. It can also take away our life. So that is the message here. Then why are you asking me to try? So the writer says, then how can you ask me to try on all the plants? Because you are the one who is accusing me of lying. So Mara says, you are the one who is telling that I am lying about all the stories that I am telling. Suppose, so the writer says, suppose you come on the sorry, suppose you come upon the one that will bring back your youth. So the writer says, what if you are trying out and miraculously you may end up getting a plant that can get back your youth? So he is already a old man. Okay, so the writer is mocking at him and telling, if you try all these plants, you may get a plant that can give you back your charm, the youth, in the young age of yours, you may get back. I don't even want that. So Mara says, oh my god, I don't even want to get back my youthful days. Why? If I become young, I will have to marry again. So he is really a free spirited person, where he says, I don't want to become young. If at all I become young, again I will have to marry again I will have to marry. So he is not, he says, I don't want to marry again. So that is why he does not want to become young. Let that be. But don't think such a plant does not exist in a forest. So he said, okay, let that be a part. But don't ever think that there really exists a plant like this which can get back your life. He said and told me another story. So Mara is going on telling so many stories regarding the creeper, the medicinal creeper. Now he says, don't think that such a plant does not exist in a forest. There are plants which can give you back your life. So here's another story for you. Long ago, Mara and a friend of his laid a trap and caught a barking deer. So it was not a normal deer, it was a barking deer. I'll underline. So they had caught a Mara and one of his friend had laid a trap, okay, to catch a barking deer. So have you ever seen a barking deer? Who usually barks? It is always a dog that barks. But here Mara says there was a barking deer in the forest. So they wanted to catch that barking deer. As they had to divide it equally between them. So they had already caught this barking deer in the trap, and they had to divide the meat equally between the two of them. So they took it to a nearby stream, skinned it, cleaned it, and divided the meat. So the trap was already there. So they went to the nearby stream, They skinned it, they peeled out the skin, they cleaned the meat and divided the meat equally. They wrapped their portion in some leaf and brought them home. So they did not have ready made. In Mara's house, they got ready to cook. So when Mara brought the meat, so when your dad brings the meat, what happens? The masalas in your house will, I mean, everything, the masalas will be getting ready. So the same thing happened in Mara's house. So when he had bought the meat, the people in the house were excited and they got ready to cook the meat. They prepared the masala with the spices. So the masala was ground nicely. The masala was prepared. Put the water to boil. So the water started boiling, okay, to prepare the meat, and opened the packet to take the meat. So the lady of the house prepared the masalas, the water was boiling. She opened the packet, the leaf made packet. She opened the packet to take the meat. Surprise of surprises. So when the packet was opened, there was a lot and lot of surprise. So what was kept in the packet? It was the meat of the barking deer. Instead of the meat, there was a live wild buck. So what was the surprise? The surprise was, instead of the meat, there was a alive, wild buck. Buck is a small rabbit kind of a animal, okay? So instead of meat, there was a live wild buck. The moment it saw Mara, it jumped up and ran out of his house. So when the packet was opened, there was no meat, dead meat, but there was a alive animal, a small wild buck that was inside. So immediately, the moment it saw Mara, it started jumping and ran out of the house. Can you believe such a story? When Mara was trying to catch it, so when wanted the meat, so he was in a hurry to catch the wild buck. So when Mara was doing that kind of acrobatic in trying to catch the animal, as usual, Mara's wife ignorantly took the leaves and threw them into the fire. See, this is the ignorancy that is showed by the Indian people, okay? They do not know the real value. So when the lady was disappointed that she did not get the meat, she thought, what is the use of keeping this leaf? So what did she do? She ignorantly took the leaf and threw it into the fire. When I heard this story, I was speechless. So the moment the writer heard this story, he was speechless. He couldn't speak anything because the story was so cock and bull. It was like it is actually made up. See, it is like the Panchatantra stories that you hear where animals get back to life. And I did not ask Mara for any elaboration or explanation. So he was speechless. He couldn't speak a word. He did not ask for any kind of explanation from Mara because this was the height of his inventive genius. So he thought, this is the heights of somebody inventing a story. This is not just like that telling. It was invented story. It is no wonder that the white man of Hulihindalu, you remember the doctor, it was no wonder that the white man of Hulihindalu was prepared to give away his entire estate in exchange for these wonder plants. So if you remember, in my previous class we had this story about Mara cutting his hand, and when the doctor, the white man, asked for the leaves, they went into the forest searching this plant, but they never found. The white man was ready to give his entire estate in order to get these wonder plants, wonder magical plants. Now it has been a very long time since I sold the estate, and Mara is also dead and gone. So the writer says it's been a long time. Okay, after that he did not get to know um much of the stories about the medicinal creeper, since he had sold the estate and Mara was also dead and gone. It is difficult to dismiss all of Mara's stories as bunkum. So he says, I cannot take all the stories that were told by Mara as bunkum. Bunkum means nonsense. It does not make sense at all. So from the beginning, if you see, he is coming up with, he says the creeper is being cursed by a sage. Then he says there was no sign of any wound at all after the leaf was kept. Then he says a stem was being touched. He used a stem to brush his teeth, and all his tooth fell. Then he says the cowkill and the mongoose also know about it. And now he says there are plants which can get back your life. Here he says he had caught a barking deer when he had kept the meat inside. When he comes home and opens the packet, for his surprise, it's the meat is not there, but rather he finds a live animal. So all these stories is actually nonsense, but you cannot dismiss, you cannot take all the stories as something that is made up. Some little detail remains to bother your conscience. So the you may be thinking maybe whatever stories Mara told may be true. You cannot come to a conclusion just like that. The total disinterest that Mara showed in trying to argue with us or convince us for the matter to lie or tell the truth continues to bother us. So, when Mara was repeatedly asked by the author to justify it, he never justified. Okay, he never tried to argue with the writer, but he was very passive about it. Maybe his stories were true also, but he never argued or justified it. So that still remains to prick us, make us think a lot whether it is true or false. So that point bothers the author too. He cannot come to a conclusion simply about it. Okay, so with this I will stop. This is little, a big chapter, so I thought I will go little slow with it. So with this we come to the end of today's session. I think I've already sent the 1 marker questions. Please write it down in your notes. I will be sending the 4 marker questions also. Thank you girls. God bless you. Stay home, stay safe and stay blessed.